Good morning, everyone. I am so excited y'all are here today. I'm just going to I'm going to see if I can switch my view so you can see me a little differently, but let me stop and reshare this because my feature here I want to use previewed a little bit differently. So welcome to Teams Orientation, y'all. I'm thrilled that y'all are here today. We put these on every so often because we've received so many requests from students that want to have additional information and from staff that want to have additional information on using Teams, making it a little bit easier and finding out some of those hidden features and tricks to streamline your use of Teams. So hopefully today you're going to see things that are different or new or maybe you haven't seen before. I want to invite you to please interact, please engage. This is your time. I want you to be able to learn, so feel free to do what you can to get your questions answered and so that you can be well informed. At the top banner of our Teams meeting, you'll see the options to have the chat, which is the little circle with the lines in it. There's also a little smiley face with a high five. If you at any time want to do those emojis, that's fine. I think my team is on the back end so they can show what those look like coming up on screen. But that's just one quick way that you can interact or engage with us today. If you would like to, it's that hand emoji, and that just kind of helps me know how we're trekking along. I am using a different form of standing out in front of the slides that just recently came out into public preview, so I know it probably looks a little bit different. I hope it does. We want things to be different for you today and to show you what all the options are. So I am Amanda Pritchard. I see I'm kind of cutting my name a little bit. Amanda Pritchard, my pronouns are she, her, hers, and I work in the Office of Information Technology. I'm the Microsoft specialist there, and my job is to test out some of these features that we're showing and be able to share how we've gone through the different troubleshooting and made all of this available to campus. So it's a really fun job. It's been very busy this past year and a half, just seeing all of the new releases and making sure campus is aware of everything that we have available to us. So as I mentioned, I work in OIT. This is just a much wiser person wrote this than me, but here's the Amanda version. The mission of OIT is that we're here to help. If you have needs in learning technology, then we're here to provide that assistance for you and to walk along beside you to make sure you understand it and can use it. So a couple of fast facts. This is a Teams webinar. You may or may not have ever been in a webinar before. It looks and feels a little bit different than a regular Teams meeting. For now, your video and audio are muted, and that's just to help us get through all of the content today. The chat option is going to be on and off. Right now it's on so that if you do have a general question, you can pop it in there. We have a lot of content to cover, so I will probably get to your question at some point in this presentation. And you can use the raised hand feature. I just ask that you do that in moderation because most of what I'm going to be covering are the questions that I typically get we'll cover a little bit later in the presentation. And of course, we can use those fabulous emojis to interact whenever you would like to during the presentation. This is being recorded. We will have a copy of the recording and we will post that. So there are some things that I may go through that it's meant to be an introduction and you might need a refresher and want to go through that again. So just know you will have access to that recording and you'll be able to watch and replay anything that we cover that maybe you need a little more information on. Okay, raise your hand if you like playing games. You can use a little hand emoji now. I give you full permission. I give you full permission. Who wants to play a game? Because I know some of you said that you like winning prizes. So if you like winning prizes, this is for you. So thank you for raising hands. You can lower those. That shows that you know how to do it. So I'm so proud of y'all. I want you to watch for TMOC throughout the presentation, okay? Even the little ones. Watch for TMOC. Keep track of how many that you're counting. At the very end of our presentation today, you can enter the number in our event survey. We're going to draw five lucky winners so that we'll be able to win some swag. So TMOC is our mascot. You can see the little baby one here, but we'll go ahead and this is the big guy. So first one's on us. You keep count, and then we're going to try to keep count of that so that you can get certain swag. We've got some really cool prizes that Microsoft has given us that we want you to be able to access. So I'm going to do, if you, let's see, that might help you be able to view it a little bit better. This is the side-by-side feature in Teams that allows you to be beside your slides. And to do that, when you're sharing any kind of information, the share button's at the top. It looks like an arrow. And when you select that, you'll see, if you're in public preview, you'll see that you're able to do some of these features that I'm showing today, which just gives you an alternate option of presenting information. So I am going to show you how to do that in just 1 second here. If you do think that you're going to want a copy of this recording, if you find this to be beneficial information, if you would like to have other information about OIT and our trainings, I've got a QR code here. You can scan that, and you'll be able to scan that, and it links to our YouTube channel. We do these sessions all the time. All of them are recorded and available for you to watch so that you can get more information on an array of products that are available. And so you don't have to feel like you're behind and not knowing how to do things or limited with how you are able to use the technology. The entire intent of having this channel is to empower you so that you're able to use all of these features. And I think that's another team up. Just saying. I also just wanted to bring your attention while I've got you here. Raise your hand. Have you heard of the TechKNOWledgy bar? I'm looking for hands raised. Got a few. Is it mostly my team raising hands? Okay. Looks like a pretty good amount for TechKNOWledgy bar. So if you are familiar with it, that is our new space in the Student Union. We're going to be opening it so soon, and it's going to have a walk-up help desk so that you can walk up and have any of your questions that you have, any technology help that you need, you'll be able to walk up there and get that assistance. I also included a QR code so that you can scan that and get information on hours and location. I'm going to launch a quick poll because I like to get a feel as to my audience, as to who's out there. Depending on how you've joined, it's going to vary on how this pulls up for you. Some of you will see this launched in our chat. Some of you will see this popped up in your screen. If you don't mind, just take a quick second. There, it says which best describes you. And what it's going to show me is, are you a student, staff, returning faculty member, or are you TMOC? I keep waiting for him to show up in one of my meetings. So if he's here, wonderful. If not, if you'll just fill out with how you best identify, and that just gives me a little bit of information. So you click on your answer, press submit, and then if the box did pull up in front of you, when you select done, that's going to make it disappear. So looks like TMOC is here, which makes me thrilled to see. We've got a lot. The majority that are here are new students. I have about 41% new students. Amazing. So glad you're here. I am a UT Dallas alum, so I absolutely love it and love that you're here with us too. Okay, great. And we've got some faculty. We've got staff and students. So we've got the mix of everybody here that's going to be learning together. So that makes my heart thrilled to see us all here. We're going to go ahead and delve in to Microsoft Teams and to show you the different ways that you can access it. There is the web. If you're just wanting to access it via website, that's available to you. If you have it on your app, you can get the mobile app, and it's great because it goes with you wherever you go. It's very helpful for me to have it because you can access your chats, you can access your calendar and information. And then there's also the desktop app, which is what we will be primarily using. There's a reason that we're primarily using the desktop app. Most of the features, the more robust features, would be available in the desktop app because that requires the download so they're able to provide you that full service. So I would rather show you the full array of what you can do instead of just having some of the limited features, They're minor differences, so don't feel like if you have to join from your mobile app or if you're on the website, don't feel like you're missing out on a bunch. But the features do change, and I want to show you the full features for today's presentation. So I also have a QR code there in case you need help downloading it. I think if you're here today, chances are that you've made it onto Teams pretty well. So now I'm going to stop sharing this, and I'm going to migrate over to a different screen here. So give me just half a second to prep here. And I'm going to check and make sure I wasn't supposed to do another poll because I get excited and I got ahead of myself a little bit. I think I'm good. All right, so we're going to do a little preview, and I do think before I do the preview, I want to get a feeling from you about what you're most comfortable with in using Teams, because I know everybody brings about their own unique experiences. So if you could fill out this quick poll, it's either going to pop up or be in your chat. What features do you feel most comfortable using in Teams? So you can pick whichever ones you're most comfortable, and depending on if you're most comfortable or not, then it tells me what I need to share or not share. So I'll let you pull that up, and then I'm going to pull up our chat to demo. Okay, fantastic. So let me see, what do we have here? Most people feel very comfortable scheduling and participating in meetings, which is fantastic. A little bit in breakout rooms, a little bit in navigating channels. I feel like channels is sometimes the mystery item, and then notifications, people feel pretty comfortable with that. So I'm just scanning this. Not as many comfortable in sharing and co-authoring documents, which is great because we are going to be covering that today. I'll make sure and touch on that a little bit more, and we'll talk about navigating channels because I think that's the one thing that's most easily missed by individuals is those channels. So we're going to first take a look here just at chats. I want to call your attention to a couple quick things because I feel like these are easy to miss. These little icons down at the bottom all do different unique things. So if you were writing a message, if you needed to modify your text at all or insert a link, I'll lean over this way, insert a link, then you're able to do that there. And you can also, if you have an important message, and so my team that's supporting me is going to be sending out some of these, showing these features for us so that I can demo them for you. But if you have an important message, you can see that Soy is needing my assistance. You can highlight that as important down here or urgent. If there's something that you critically need your team to know or a group project, you can highlight it there. In addition, there's all of these fabulous emojis. If you're not familiar with these emojis, I want to call your attention because this is something we petitioned Microsoft for, and I love it. But if you're looking for more, oops, I clicked the wrong thing, or I clicked too fast, more diverse options, you're able to click on them and right-click, and you're able to see a little bit more diversity in the options that are available, just so that it's a wider breadth of individuals. And Brazeda just posted this fabulous praise for us. That's an option that's down here as well. It looks like a little medal at the bottom. When you select that, it's going to allow you to send praise. So whether you're sending it to a staff member that's helped you in some way, a teammate, somebody that's on a class project with you, it's a great way just to give somebody a shout out, and it's a wonderful way to team build for your group there. They're doing a few more. They're going to post some of our gifts, which are located here. Of course, that's a fun way. And then one that I always like to show off, I'm going to have y'all raise hands real quick. Raise hands. Do you already know how to make a meme in Teams? Teams meme? Okay, we got one, two. We got a few. Not as many. Feeling strong about this one. So if you want to, because we know memes are life and we have reasons to use them all the time, you select this little smiley face sticker icon, then you can select the option to meme. They have a set options for you already, and then you do have availability to add in your own, and then you can simply click on it and caption it and be able to send it, which is really fun for when you're wanting to send ones to teammates or about TMOC, whatever. But that's an option there so that you can send those and have a little fun making memes. All of these are tools just to help you have that connection point with your team or your class and make it a little bit more fun. So we went through praise, gifts, emojis, all of that. I think the next thing that we want to take a look at is what you all said you're not so confident in, that maybe you haven't done quite as much, and that's sharing and co-authoring documents. So Soy, I'm going to ask, I believe that you have a document ready for us that you've already drafted. Let's get that posted in the chat so that we can have a link and navigate to that document. So she's going to post that real quick. So you can see here that you can post a link. Now, let me give you some backup information. When you go to office.com, that's how you can access all of the Microsoft suite of products. It's available to you. It's all free. Office.com, and you log in using your net ID and your password. That's going to give you access to PowerPoint, Excel, Sway, Power Automate, MS Projects, and Planner, and all of the information that you could possibly need. Well, what we do is we open up a Word document on Office.com, and that way it is shared with our team. So I'm going to pull this over here. Let me see. Well, I'm going to load this up and zoom in a little bit to make sure everybody can see. So what we went to first was office.com. I'm going to jump back over there real quick just so you can see. Office.com, you can click on the icons up at the top here, and you can see all of the different apps that are available, and scrolling down, and you can view everything you have access to. So this is where we started. We started here, and we created a document in Microsoft Word, and then we were able to share it with your team by clicking the share button, and you can put in their information. You can choose if they can view or edit it. So if you want them just to have it for a reference to preview, or if you want to collaborate, you're going to need to make sure that they can edit it in order to collaborate on it. And then you can also determine who has access. Here's those editing. If you want them to be able to download it or not, you have full control over your work and how you want that to be shared. So I do think it's important to point out those options, because when you have it and when you share it, then you can come as a group and be able to have multiple people editing a document, a file, a PowerPoint, whatever platform you're using in the Microsoft suites, and you're able to have everybody on there at once, editing and commenting so that you can share all of that. I use this a lot in OneNote with my team so that we can put up tasks, we can put up deadlines, we can put up our calendar and our schedule so we know how to meet all of that criteria. And what's beautiful about using the Microsoft platform and all of the whole suite is that all of these products integrate seamlessly together so that you are able to collaborate and share. So you see here, Soy is editing that document, and I think Brazeda might be on there as well. And they're both able to type in information and answers simultaneously. And you can see on the little icon, when Soy is typing or writing, I can hover over, and it's going to tell me who is working on what in this document. So if you have multiple people, if you had a big group, you would be able to know who is doing what. So it's a brilliant way to just kind of ensure that you can have that collaboration. And when you set it up in office.com, I'm going to jump off of this for just a second. When you set it up here and you're able to select whatever document, whatever item that you're wanting, then you can share it with that group and have this type of collaboration on whatever product you need, because I know every department uses things a little bit differently. But that's a very easy, seamless way to have that sort of communication happening there. Okay. So I think we've got, that's a general how-to on using that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come back to our chats here. I'm going to share screen, but I'm going to stop sharing with me popping out, and I'm going to let Soy take over a little bit so that she can tell you some more on the question that we get a lot is how to mute, hide, or pin chats. So I'm going to let Soy, if you want to come on, and I will drive, and you can tell us where we're going next. And let's see, Soy, oh, she's typing. Oh, you're not able to unmute yourself. I don't show that. Denison, if you can pop on too for participant list, I don't show that. I show that you have presentation access, but maybe it's being quirky this morning. So I can certainly take over showing this. Denison, could you work to see if you're able to help unmute her? But I'll take over starting those, and we can take a look to see what's happening. Okay, I'm scrolling through my polls too. Okay. So I'm sure all of you know where your chats are located. I'm sure you use them quite regularly. I'll go ahead and do this little preview so I can see myself and where I'm going. But I know what a lot of people are not familiar with is muting and popping out a chat. So you can pop out a chat. You can pop out a chat if it's a chat with individuals as opposed to a chat within a meeting. Okay, so to do that, you would click on it. It's going to pop up in one of my many other screens. So I'm going to pull it over here. But you can see if you're working on a lot of projects and you need to be able to pop open a chat and have that focus time, you can use that little pop-out icon when you hover over. You can see for today's session that we're in currently, I'm not able to pop out a chat because it is a group meeting as opposed to a group conversation. So that's the difference. So you will see that pop-out is missing here. It's not broken. It's just a different type of communication. So let's see. And then over here, you can click the three dots. The three dots in all Microsoft products is like trying to find your way at the end of the rainbow. If there's something magical at the end there, there's always more information. So anytime you're missing something that you need to navigate to, select those three dots. You can see here a couple of options for those chats. Let's do the raise hand feature real quick because I bet we're going to have a few. How many of you have gotten what you need to out of a chat thread and you're still getting notifications on a chat and it's driving you crazy because you still get those notifications even though you've already kind of finished what you needed to talk about in that chat? Okay, only 3 or 4? Okay. Well, let me tell you okay, now they're coming in. Now we're being honest with each other. So I've got a handful of hands raised. If you don't know how to mute these, I'm going to show you how to do this because nobody likes having those excessive chats. It's not fun. You can mute them, which is just, having them be quiet. If you don't want to see it anymore, it's a project you've completed, it's information that you don't want, you can hide it. And we can click on hide, and that's going to hide those chats for us. What I use a lot, if there's chats that you know are recurring that you need that information on, that are really critical to stay on top of, you can pin it. And so I have my pinned chats up here, and those will always be at the top. And then this little caret here to the left is going to show you too that you can shrink or include those bigger. So I don't know if hopefully those were helpful. I think that that's really important to know just how you can do those because nobody wants to have that open all the time and have those kind of interruptions. So let's see, I think I covered that in chats. I'm going to check my notes, make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, I'm going to launch one more poll real quick to see. We went over this a little bit when we were talking about the Teams chats. and putting in the text down here. So I'm giving you a little bit of a hint here. But my question is, true or false, you cannot modify the text in Teams chats. Let's see what people say. Is it true or false? You cannot modify. Okay, great. I'm getting about 20 responses, so I know we've got some more coming in. Some people may be panicking and changing right now, and that's okay too. All right, I'm going to give it away. It's false. You can modify. So if you're wanting, I'm going to have my team show some of these features, please. Briseida, if you don't mind shooting a couple with a bold, italics, and underline, just show those different options. You can change it, which is nice to have as those communications come in so that you can change it with whatever you need to make that appropriate emphasis. Okay. And the one thing I think I missed on here too is we'll go to these three dots. It's going to very slowly load because I'm sharing. But if you're looking for additional apps, you do have options to sometimes add apps. They may be a little bit limited based on what your permissions are, but there are options to add there. You can also, I did miss this, you can schedule a meeting from your chat. If you are in a chat with a group of people, so I've got my team helping on the back end too. Let me scroll down to those. Whoa! Soy's back. Great. But if you did have chats and you're like, okay, you know what, we really need to have a conversation about this, you're able to call them using a video call so you could see each other on screen, or if you just want to do a voice call, so you could do that. And this little feature, raise hand, who here has used this share screen feature? Because it is my life. Great, I'm seeing a few hands, not everybody. Okay, more, yay. Okay, more. You can use this just to share your screen. So I use this for my team all the time where I'll be like, I just need to show you this one thing here. I can share my screen with the group, circle my mouse around it, show them what I'm talking about, and be able to mute or unmute to actually talk. But sometimes I just need them to have that visual. And that's how you can do that. And then you can also add or remove people to your chat. When you're doing that, you can add individuals if you realize that, oh gosh, we forgot a really critical person here. So let's make sure we get them on. And you can decide if you want to include the history or not, but you can add those individuals there. It is going to tell you here who's been added and what access they have, what information. So those are just some key features there so that you can know how to use that. I know we get those questions a lot of adding in another person. Okay, so I've got a poll to see how well we're listening. Another poll coming up here in just a second. I just launched it. So it says Teams chat allows you to do which of the following actions? Select all that apply. So we've got a couple of options here. Schedule a meeting, send praise, change grades, collaborate on a document, connect to BB Collaborate, and send emojis, GIFs, and memes. So let's see what your answers are. And Jensen, I'm going to ask you to please lower hands. So I'm waiting to see. We've got a few in. I guess I have to answer too. Let's see if I get it right. I'm a little nervous now. Okay, great. Y'all are doing wonderful. Okay, you can't change grades in your Teams chat. I know it wouldn't that be great if you could just go in there and just give yourself an A for everything. You're not able to do that in Microsoft. Maybe that's a future feature. I don't know. You are able to schedule a meeting, send praise. You're able to collaborate on those documents. You can not connect to Blackboard through Teams, and you can send those emojis, GIFs, and memes. So it's a great way to communicate and collaborate. Here's another one I want to question you on to see if you're familiar with this. For those of you that have used Mute Chat or may have just seen it in a demo. True or false, muting a chat mutes it for everyone in the chat. So if I were to go to the chat here and mute it, would it mean everyone in the chat is silenced or would it mean it's just muted for me? So let's take a look here and see what y'all's answers are. Coming through. Got a few wavering. It's kind of a tough one. That's okay. Fantastic. So we've got not quite a passing grade. We're at 65% that says false. When you mute that chat, it only mutes it for you because it may be information that you no longer need to hear or to follow. So when you mute it, it mutes it just for you. Sorry if you heard the doorbell. I think Amazon is delivering. So let's see here. I'm going to scroll down. I think that was all that we had on chats. I'm going to move to calendaring, and I'm going to scroll back up to look at your responses because I feel like most of y'all felt pretty good about calendaring. So I may not have to share quite as much. Okay. So calendaring, I think we showed how to join a meeting, or you all know how to join a meeting because you're here, which is great. Super proud of you. I was going to show you too how to schedule and add attendees, and this is your calendar icon, so you can see all of the chaos in my life. It's real. You are able to schedule new meetings in the upper right corner. I'm going to just show you this little toggle because I think it's hidden. I don't know. Raise your hand if this is your first time seeing these options here. Okay, just a few. Oh, no more. Okay, more. Good. A few more coming through. Great. So it looks like a few that this is new. You can schedule a new meeting. You can do the meet now option if you want to just get on get on a call with somebody right away. But there are a couple options when you're creating a meeting. You can just select new meeting if you're wanting to. You also have the availability to do what we're doing now, which is a webinar, or you have the option to do a live event, which would be a little bit bigger of a production. We have separate trainings all on live events. But I just wanted to call your attention to those so that you can be familiar. Webinar is what you would need if you're, especially with student organizations, if you're a student org that is going to require registration and you want to track your attendees, that would be a good use case for webinars. Otherwise, it's something you may not need. I also want to call your attention to your profile picture at the top. I'm looking at the call now, and I'm not seeing many people that have a profile picture available. If you want to add one in, when you select your profile picture at the top, you can hover over your picture and you're able to select and upload a picture of yourself or remove it if you don't like your picture. It's helpful in classes just to have that identification. It's also helpful in meetings so that people kind of have a feel of what you look like. Certainly not required, but I like to call your attention to where that is because I know a lot of people are not familiar with it. In addition, raise hand. Who knows about your status? I'm not saying if you're like single or in a relationship, not that kind of status. This is a whole nother status in Teams. So, okay. Getting there. Okay. So if you're not familiar with this, you can select underneath your name and change your status. Do not disturb will not let any chats through or calls through. So if someone tries to call you, if you need that complete focus time, it will not let them go through. Busy just means you may be on a call but still can multitask. You can be right back, appear away, like if you've gone off for a while, and if you want to just appear offline, you can do that. It's really important to focus on these and be able to use them because it's a great way to communicate with others. If you'll see mine, I have a notification that's set right now that just says that I'm in this training. You can also set up, sorry if I went fast on that, let me show that again. You can set up the duration. So if you know you're working on a project or a deadline and you only want it done that certain amount of time, you can set your status to go back and forth. If you're like me and you forget to take yourself off Do Not Disturb, you can set that status to only be available for 1 hour or 2 hours so that you can ensure that it sets back to being available. Okay, and then here, right next to the status, you can set your status message. This is going to send people a automatic notification. If you do start to type a chat to them, it's going to let them know, whoa, 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 you're busy or you're doing something. And you can say to show that to people. So if you are in a critical meeting and you can't be disturbed, or if you're working on a project, you can let people know that that message and be able to have that for you. Okay, mine's pulling, if you set your out of office in Outlook, it's going to pull that from Outlook automatically, so you don't have to do any extra work. It pulls it for you, which is a great way to make sure you're managing your calendar there. Okay. So for a Teams meeting, I'm going to jump over to, let me make sure I find it in the right spot. For a Teams meeting, we showed you how you can go from a chat. You can join from a chat. You can join a Teams meeting from your calendar. If you are a student or in channel meetings, you can also join from here to be able to see those dates and details. So you can pull it open and click join in order to participate. That's one quick way, or you can also just do it from your general calendar and click it open and be able to be able to join. This wasn't an actual meeting, so there's not a join button. That was just me. Okay. But there's multiple ways that you can get to your meetings and be able to have access to that information. Okay, so I think it's time for another poll. Oh, first, I want to show you one of my favorite things. Hold on. Making sure we don't have any chats. Okay, Teams. I skipped a little bit of this, so I want to go into it. So if you think of it, Teams are your big bucket items, so your big group. And then when you drill down into it, so this was one that I was just showing, these are your channels. This is set up by whoever owns that team. So this is one that I manage, so I'm showing you what I have created. So because I own this team, I've set up very specific channels related to my team and what my team does. Only the meeting or the team owner can set this up, or someone that they've delegated to set this up. So your classes, your other groups may be set up very differently, but these are all called channels. And I'm going to pop over to another one that I run called Campus Communicators, just so you can see how it's structured a bit differently. But you're able to see anytime you're wanting to go to a specific themed event. This is one I did the other day on Tuesday on Breakout Rooms. So if you're not familiar with Breakout Rooms, I'm going to do a quick highlight today, but we can also get you a recorded copy of that. But you're able to jump around and you can see how these channels are set up a little bit differently, just so that you're familiar with where everything is. And you are able to join from a channel meeting. You're able to join from a Teams conversation. You're able to join these meetings from a variety of places. So that's specifically what channels are. So the channels are only within your individual team. How many of you, I'm going to show you this, I want you to raise hand if this is new information to you. These are all tile icons. If you're like me, you're probably on a lot of teams. There's a lot. So what you can do if you're wanting to be sure, did you know? Is this new information? Did you know you can drag and drop? Raise your hand if this is new information to you. If you want to organize your classes, your teams, you can move them around however your heart desires, however it makes the most sense to you, by just dragging and dropping them around. So that's a really easy way. It looks like it was new information for a lot of people. That's an easy way to be able to organize. Thank you. You guys can lower your hands. I'm going to get you here and again. How many of you know what it means when something is bolded in your team's tile? Do you know what it means when something is bolded in your team's tile? I've got a few hands, only a few. When something is bolded, that means that something there has changed since you last visited that team. So you could click on that and be able to get some new information there. And that way you don't miss anything. So you can see I've got a few that I could jump on and be able to read that new information and be familiar with it. So I think that that's a really quick way to kind of manage those notifications for yourself, as you can look at that at a glance. Okay, it's time for another question. I'm going to ask, this one's popping up now. You can join a Teams meeting from the following locations. So think about what we covered. Mobile app, Teams channel, Galaxy, Outlook, Alexa, or Teams desktop calendar. You can pick more than one. So I want you to think through the different ways that you could possibly join meetings. I'm submitting my answers too, so I can get in on this. Okay. Still see a few coming in. So everyone, yes, you can join a Teams meeting event from your mobile app. You can get it from the Teams channel, not from Galaxy. I know they're not synced. Not from Galaxy. You can from Outlook. Not from Alexa or she who shall not be named. In case you have one, I kind of have to whisper it so they don't just start off on you. You can't join it from that device. You can from your desktop calendar. So great job. I think y'all did really well. There's multiple ways of getting to all of that information. And I think next, Dennison, I was going to ask you to get on real quick, and I'm going to stop sharing because I think now that we're talking about calendaring, we're talking about joining meetings. Can you share what that meeting screen looks like? And can you walk us through a little bit about those options that are available to us?
Of course, of course. So give me one moment. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you all. So Teams is really, really cool, and it's always growing and always changing. And so one of my favorite parts about Teams is the pre-join meeting screen that you see. Hopefully you should be seeing right now. So one of the amazing things about it is that you can use this screen to get yourself prepared for said meeting. So it's not just, you click the join button and you instantly jump into the meeting. You actually have a chance to kind of set everything up and make sure that it's good. So first things that we'll go ahead and go over is going to be the computer audio. So right now I actually have my computer audio set as my headset for my headset, but you can also change that. And actually, if you hit this little button here, what this does is it gets to your device settings. And as you can see here, you can actually set which audio device that you want to use. You can use whichever type of microphone that you have. You can set that up. You can, as you can see, you can get a little bit more granular and make it to where if you have, say, a separate mic or you have a separate pair of headphones, and you don't want to have an all-in-one, you can actually have one set up for your headphones, for your speaker, and then you can have, for your microphone, you can have, if you have like a pro quality microphone or just a different one, instead of using the one that's on your headset, you can change that here. So this is a really, really amazing option that really helps out. And you can actually see too, you can also set up your camera in this section as well. So this is where you can change it from, if you have like a normal webcam that's on your laptop, or let's say you bought a new one, you can actually change it here, which is really, really great and really amazing. So another really cool thing is, I know, whenever we're all in these meetings, sometimes, especially when it is a really new, or I should say, especially when it's a meeting that is, very important and stuff like that, you want to make sure that you get yourself ready. So right now it's actually not showing my camera because I'm actually sharing, but essentially what would happen is you'd get your camera feed in this window right here. And you'd be able to kind of get yourself prepared and ready, and everyone can kind of see how you're going to look, or you can at least show how you're going to look before time or before you jump into that meeting. And you can also change it to where, just in case you have some clothes in the background or anything like that, you can also change your background. So that way it only has, whichever type of background that you want. And as you can see, Microsoft has plenty of amazing, fun backgrounds that you can have. And there's also a feature that you can add extra backgrounds if you would like as well. So this screen really does get you ready for whatever meeting that you're about to tackle and whatever moment that you're ready to jump into. And then right after everything is finished, you just hit this join button and you get pushed into the meeting. So I think this is amazing. And as I said, Teams is always growing and it's always changing. So Microsoft always likes to change this around and add new features to it. But with that, I'll give this back to Amanda.
Thank you, Dennison. Yeah, I think that's really helpful to understand how you can join and be able to navigate those different types of meetings. I'm going to ask for those that are on kind of the back end crew with me today, if you don't mind turning on your cameras for the next portion. And if you're a participant, you're not able to, I know, so you'll be limited there. But I want to show the difference, and I was going to ask for our participants, can you raise hand if you've been, let me finish, one second, raise hand if you've been in a meeting and you've had a hard time focusing on who is speaking because so many cameras are on. Have you ever had a hard time knowing who to focus on? I don't know, for me, I mean, I have the attention span of a goldfish, so I get distracted very easily and look at all of the things. So what I'm asking Soy, thank you all for raising your hands. It seems like some people might relate a little bit to me. So I asked Soy if she could walk us through the difference really quickly between spotlighting and pinning. So I'm going to ask Soy if you could just tell us what's the difference between those two things?
So the main difference is, hi everyone, sorry about earlier, I had a system glitch and now I'm back. Okay, so the main difference between spotlighting and pinning is that for spotlight, you can really hover over to a person's name. So for example, if I go over to Amanda, should I share my screen and do it? Is it gonna work that way? Maybe not.
Yeah. Why don't you, you can share this Teams meeting and that way it'll show exactly what you're covering and how to bring it over.
So I guess it's showing now.
It is.
So once I hover over to Amanda's name, do you see 3 dots? Here, I'm going to spotlight. This means that it's going to spotlight or pin Amanda for everyone. So I am, controlling your screen. And I am going to unspotlight her. I don't know if that's a term. And I'm going to explain the difference. So for example, if now we are back to normal. Pinning the video is just really for myself, so it's not going to change anything on other people's screen. And it doesn't really have to be a speaker necessarily. So let's say I just want to see like Bree's data space very closely today. Then I'm going to pin her so that it's me, but I know nothing's really changing on your other people's screen. So that is the main difference. And one thing I forgot to mention is that for Spotlight, it has to be a speaker. So whoever is not speaking cannot be spotlighted. So make sure you have your mic on when you're speaking or you want to be spotlighted. So yeah, that is it.
I have a question, Soy.
Yes.
Can you spotlight multiple people?
I believe you
What if Dennison and I really were in a heated discussion about Teams and he and I both wanted to talk at the same time?
Yes.
It happens. We have a lot of conversations about what features are our favorites, what we're going to do with it. And so you can see now she was able to spotlight multiple people so that both Dennison and I could have a panel discussion on our favorite things in Teams, whether memes is the best feature or not. I think we all know the answer to that. But we are able to have that conversation and communication. And it's really helpful for when you're in a bigger group discussion so that you can see who's talking and be able to get those answers and information from them.
Yes.
So thank you, Soy. I appreciate that. Y'all feel free to stay on camera because the next section I'm just going to cover real briefly. I'll have you stop sharing, Soy, and I'm going to share my screen in just a second because I want you all to see what it looks like if you did want to do breakout rooms. And so breakout rooms is a great way to meet in those kind of that smaller group discussion. And right now, only meeting organizers have the option to break people out into rooms. I'm going to show you briefly where to find that, and when we send a follow-up email, I'll send you the recording to the prison recording from earlier this week, and you can get a fuller training if you want more information, but I know we're close on time. So I'm going to share my screen, and we'll have everybody duplicated again for just a second. You all back up. Y'all all ran away. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen here. Since I'm the organizer for today's session, you can see in the upper panel there's an option for breakout rooms. And when I select that, it's going to pop up a box that's going to let me determine how to break people out into groups, whether we want that to be done automatically, where it does it for you. You don't have to think about it, which I wish that was an option for everything in my life, or manually if you know if Dennis and I are going to get in really heated discussions, maybe we don't need to be in the same group. I don't know. Maybe it adds a little bit more vibrance to that group to have those great conversations about teams. So you can choose manually if you want to, and then you can select exactly who's going into those groups. I'm not going to break us out into groups today just for the interest of time, but I wanted you to see where that was, and it's just a matter of a few clicks to be able to put people into those smaller groups. So I'm going to transition back to sharing my slides so that if you're counting, this might be a few final opportunities for those counts. And let's pull this up here. Wonderful. So if you do not already follow us on Instagram, I want to give you a couple of pointers as to how it's beneficial. We do updates on free programs, free trainings, free certifications, sometimes that we offer. We also post on our jobs. Anytime there's a job opening, whether for students or full-time employees, we share that information. We also have free loaner devices. Raise your hand. Were you aware that you can request a free loaner laptop or webcam if you need it? I hope everyone hears this and is able to raise their hand if you're ever asked this again, that is a resource that OIT provides to you, because we're so committed to ensuring that you have the materials that you need to be successful at college. We also have giveaways, which I know we already pulled. Y'all like giveaways. And then we also talk a little bit about tech support. This QR code will get you there. I think Denison's going to post in our chat the link to get you there to follow, because y'all, if you want another way to win a prize, we're going to be giving away, I think, 2 or 3 prizes for those who, if you follow our account, new followers for today, we're going to draw a random name. If you already follow, that doesn't mean that you don't have an opportunity. You can comment on today's post with something that you learned in orientation, something new. Hopefully we all learned something new. And you can comment on today's post, and that will get you an entry. It's a random drawing. We have some numbers written down that we're going to be pulling from those whoever new follows or whoever follows today. So if you would like to follow us as extra entries to get some really cool swag, you can see in the picture here, these are some of our prize winners from the last orientation. Microsoft provides us with some cool branded backpacks, koozies. Let me get my little guy out here. T-Mox, which is a USB. I have to behead him. Hold up. Okay. Little USB drive. So we've got some really fun things to give away for having you connect with us. So just know that those are available if you would like to follow. And those are just some pictures of some of the giveaway prizes if you need a little bit closer up view to see what's available. Okay, in conclusion, I want to just wrap up with giving you the opportunity to give us feedback. These sessions were designed based on the feedback from staff and students that needed a little extra exposure to this platform, wanted to know more information about it, wanted kind of that hands-on guidance so that you can be at the top of your game and be able to share this information with classes and colleagues about how to use Teams. So we designed this to hopefully help meet the need that was expressed. If we're not meeting that need, or if there's a way we can improve, or if there's other classes that you would like to see, we want your feedback. So scan the QR code. Denison's also going to post it in our chat for us today. So you can click on that link, and that is also where we're pulling those 5 prize winners who are following the TMOC count. Put a number in there, even if you didn't get the exact number. Putting a number in there gets you an extra entry into winning a prize. A random winner we'll put 5 random winners from today. So you have a pretty good chance, because today was a smaller class. You have a pretty good chance of being a prize winner if you would just fill out that survey. Okay, Denison, I'm going to ask you to, if I think chat is open, I am just glancing really quickly at the chat to make sure. It looks like we do have that survey link that's in the chat. So hopefully everyone's able to access that. And somebody's posting their numbers. Oh, now it's going to get competitive, guys. It's going to get fierce. I'm going to leave the chat open. I know that we're really close on time. So if you need to go, thank you for attending. We're so glad you're here. Know that you can reach out to us. There's a number of ways to contact us. We're OIT Help Desk, so it's assist@utdallas.edu, 972-883-2911 to give us a call. But we're posting information on our website and that sort of thing too, that you can always reach out to get help. I'm checking chat really quickly for any additional questions. Let's see. Scanning. Everyone's posting their numbers here, but you have to post it on the survey if you want credit. But I see now I have to go back and count. I feel like there was a lot of TMOCs shown today, so I don't know. I don't know if the 10s have it or not. Y'all are getting intense. I like it. Post your numbers on that survey so we can make sure and give you credit for it. And there were a lot. I see one question. I'm scrolling back up. Scrolling. I had to find it. Denison, if you find it first, let me know. There was one question about trainings. I found it. Do you ever do a one-on-one training on meetings? I learn better if I actually do it myself. Unfortunately, I am not able to offer the one-on-one trainings. We have over 30,000 students, and so we just don't have the resources. I am the Microsoft 365 specialist on campus. So it does take a lot to be able to put on these trainings. Now, if you have general questions and you just need general assistance, I strongly encourage you to reach out to our help desk. We have over 50 employees there that answer questions on a daily basis that would be willing to help connect you with resources, information, past videos of how-to that we've done things. And that is a resource that's available to you, and they'll be able to provide you with some more personalized support, because I completely understand that learning one-on-one is a great ideal to have. It's just not always feasible given the amount of students that we have on campus. Okay, I'm glancing. What's the real number? I can't tell the real number yet because not everybody's filled out the survey. So we will be sending out a follow-up email after today's session so that you can get a copy of the recording, go over anything that we've done. We do have additional trainings coming up, so feel free to look at our schedule and our calendar. We would love to have you again. I thank you guys so much. You are wonderful to work with. Great at answering those polls and interacting with me today. So I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining. I'm going to go ahead and conclude our session.